All right, everyone, welcome to the show, Fresh Week, and really continuing a conversation that we had last week regarding investment properties, primarily in the rental space, not short-term rental, but more long-term rental, 6 months, 12 months, sort of traditional rental properties. So before we get into this, subscribe to the channel. You can hit the little thumbs up button that's there. It tells YouTube, man, I really like this channel. It's fantastic. Please show me more things from this channel. Regardless of if any of that is true, that is a way that you can stay tuned in to the channel on a regular basis. So the question that I really would like to explore just sort of briefly today is a rental property right for you? Because if I can be candid with you, because I like to think that we really sort of, there's nothing to hide on this channel, right? I don't own any rental properties, right? Okay, I don't. That's the end of the discussion. Now, that's for a variety of reasons, but one of the things that if you are someone who goes, man, I'd really like to get into that investment vehicle one day, there's some things that I think you need to ask yourself to determine, is this the right path for you, right? And so let's go through it. In my opinion, it really depends on your stomach for dealing with the process. So the question you're going to have to answer is, are you going to manage this on your own, or are you going to pay a property manager to do it? Well, what's the difference? If you manage it on your own, then obviously you're not paying someone to do it. So do you have more monthly upside? Yes, you do. Do you have more monthly headaches? Yes, you do, right? Because your phone is the phone that rings when the toilet gets clogged on a Sunday at 7 p.m. and you're like, seriously, that's what I got to do with my Sunday night now? So how much is it to get a property manager? It's going to vary a little bit, but let's just say in the neighborhood of about 10%. 10% of what? The monthly rent, right? So if, I don't know, you're charging $1,500 a month for your rental, property manager is going to take about $150 a month, give or take, right? You can do your homework on that, but as a rough estimate. So one of the things that you're going to have to answer is, hey, how much upside do you have on a monthly basis? Do you even really have room to be able to hire a property manager, or are your margins so tight that you really are going to have to do this on your own? And I would, just my 2 cents, I would say, look, if your margins are that tight, I don't know that it's the right move for you in general to have this as a rental, because the reality is this, okay? Someone rents out your place, they stay in there for 12 months, and then they move out, right? One, you're assuming that all 12 months, this was a good tenant who actually paid their rent, right? And the other reality, and that may not happen, right? But we do know that, hey, renters tend to be harder on a house than someone who actually owns the house and lives there. So when they move out, you're probably going to have two things that are going to happen. One, you're probably going to have a month where it's not going to be rented out, right? Because it's going to take you, even if it's a couple weeks, to get it flipped and turned around and then back on the rental market and then a lease signed. You're bound to have a month where this thing's going to be empty. So does that month of not bringing in $1,500 throw off your margins to the point where you're like, well, that just ate literally we had $1,500 in upside for the whole year, and now we just ate that. So now we have zero in upside, and right inside of that changeover between tenants, what upgrades or repairs and stuff like that are you gonna have to do? You're gonna have to patch drywall, maybe new carpet. Like, did they trash the whatever, the kitchen and the cabinets are fucked now? So like, what are you gonna have to do if that costs, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000? Again, you see where you're going. So I think you have to be really realistic with yourself in terms of, what is my monthly upside? And then crunch those numbers out to go, well, what happens when someone moves out? Like, do I have enough upside, especially if I'm hiring a property manager, to be able to float the repairs, right? And that's not even factoring, well, what happens when the washing machine goes out? And it's like, you got to get the plumbing guy over there to fix the washing machine and everything. Like, you really do have to think about this kind of stuff. The alternative, right, question that you need to ask yourself is, one, if I don't have the margins for rentals, or if I don't have the stomach and the patience to deal with all this stuff, would I be just better suited for a more passive investment vehicle like a REIT, a real estate investment trust, or just mutual funds, right? Like, I mean, it's not rocket science, but it's a very passive, investment tool that also gets you pretty good returns. And you can, you look at it and you just go, man, really gotta crunch the numbers. This thing has to come down to data and, again, personal stomach to deal with the process. But if you look at it and you go, man, based on projections and everything, this rental, I'm gonna have about 10% upside a year, and then you start looking at the history of a, whatever, a REIT or a S&P 500 mutual fund or whatever it is, and you look at it and you go, well, that on average pays 10% a year and literally requires nothing other than me clicking like a button to do the transfer whenever I've got cash to put into it. You see what I'm saying? Like, you really have to weigh this out and be honest with yourself, because I think it is kind of a sexy thing to tell people, yeah, I own, real estate and I do real estate investing and I have rental properties. Cool, but you know what's sexier is like doing well in life and not having the hassle. So I don't know what the answer it is. I think it's a very personal thing that you have to answer to figure out your relationship to real estate investment and figure out if you've got the stomach and the actual like capital to be able to do it. A quick recommendation. Well, I don't know where I'm at on this yet. Yeah, so I cracked this on Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving, I was in charge of the booze. That was the treat that I got for the day was, hey, so I planned out a really nice flight, a very nice whiskey flight for everyone. This was the second thing on the flight list. This is Michter's Rye. And I was kind of shocked when I cracked it to go, man, this is 85 proof? Like, man, that is a really low proof, given that even their standard bourbon is 92 proof. I was like, man, 85 proof. And it does drink like an 85 proof rye. It's not real spicy just because the proof is so low. So if you wanted to get into rye, that's probably a really great place to start. I definitely think their bourbon is better. But if you were like, I'm not a big rye guy, I don't like a ton of spice, but I like to kind of dabble in it, might be a great place to start. But if you're like, no, I like rye, I like spicy rye, that's probably going to be a little light for you. It does have good notes. It just doesn't have a high enough proof to really get the most of the whiskey drinkers going, So anyway, there's that. If you guys need real estate help, let us know. We are service pretty much the whole country. 1911syndicate.com is where you can go. Check that out. We've got some info in terms of what we do in different markets that we serve and things like that. But we'd love to help you. We're kind of a blue collar real estate company. We like working with, firefighters and cops and military dudes and whoever else would like to use us. But this is the vibe that you get, right? Laid back, but we try to actually get our shit done and do a good job. So otherwise, hope you guys are doing well. We'll talk to you next time.